Hey guys, welcome to Danger's Amazing Fantasy. This is the wedding edition. For many friends and family that know, I recently got married to Dana Stanciu this past week, Saturday, September 24th at Caesars. And one of the fun projects that I wanted to do to commemorate the occasion and just have a bit of geekiness element inserted was to create this piece here. And this was the final piece that was given out to guests at the wedding, and also used again to commemorate our wedding, to serve as legacy art, really. And it was done by my friend artist Tony Gray. So a couple months ago, I guess, when I came up with the idea, I was in Tony's loft at Glass Monkey Studios, and kind of just threw out the idea, and we started talking about it, and we had to work backwards. So as many people are aware of the Amazing Spider-Man annual, the wedding annual where Peter Parker marries Mary Jane, this is a little bit of a love letter to that. So taking those elements of the original cover, I think what we did is we just had a discussion, and we knew that the characters that had to be in place. So obviously in the original book you had Peter and Mary Jane, and then you had everyone on on Peter Parker's side, then people on MJ's side. So from there, I guess just working backwards, we just timelined it out and came up with a way to do it. And then basically it was just me coordinating and then getting assets to Tony, and then he was placing it and then drawing it. All right. So moving forward, I guess going back to the obvious pieces, we know we wanted to keep the Spidey heart obviously intact. It was just a quick replacement of Pete and Mary Jane with myself and Dana. And then from there, we had to make some decisions on who would go into this piece. So I was able to get both of our parents, my parents there, Dana's parents there, two of my groomsmen's, Dana's sister Megan, who's maid of honor, and Scott, who's her bridesman. So with that said, all I did was, in confidence, I sent an email to the group and said, this is what I want to do. Here's the final piece, the actual cover of the Amazing Spider-Man annual, and basically just kind of earmarked who was who in that picture. So J. Jonah and Robbie would have been my cousin Ben and Justin right there, and then we just went forth that way. So the next steps were probably the most difficult steps, but I needed to then have everyone take a photo of themselves, one headshot and one body shot in the pose. And let's just look at some of the headshots first. All right, so I was able to get those photos. There you see myself, Ben, and my cousin Justin, my parents and Scott, and then Megan and Dana's parents. So those are the hardest parts, because that's where the amount of detail comes in. So we were able to get those shots to Tony. He was able to then do the sketches of their faces and then go from there. All right, now during the process, as many people know, being traditional, you don't want to see the bride. All right, so the hardest part, this was a coordination. I can't believe we pulled it off, but it was amazing in itself. But was doing that, and the next stage, once we had the head sketches, we came up with this here. So as you see, I was able to get shots of people in the exact stance that they would be in the final piece, including myself. I also had everyone in the photos submit exactly what they were wearing during the wedding, and even some people had actually wore what they were wearing during the wedding. So it was almost kind of replicating what was going to happen. From there, Tony had myself, but as you could see here, Dana was totally left out, and we're going to get to that here in a few moments. But the other element was the title of the banner and the header. So going back to the final piece here, as many people know, there is traditionally annual up there, and finally we arrived on Stanciu and Renaud, and we replaced Spider-Man with Dana and Jeremy, so it tied into Stanciu and Renaud. And in the corner, obviously I had to tie it into my son, so we just popped him in there, and then obviously put the date and went with that. So that was great. Now when I went to Fan Expo, I'll tell you a story at the end here, but I had the opportunity to bring the next evolution of this part here, which was the final artwork here. All right, so this was the artwork, and it was complete in the sense that it had all the family, myself, but Dana was not in there. So it was empty like this. Getting back to the story later on, but will tell you, basically I brought it, Stan Lee saw it, and this was empty here, and we'll get to that in a second. But in the interim, what Tony did, following the same process, whoops, a little bit of a glare, he took a photo and did a head sketch of Dana, and then, as you can see here, did the dress. All right, and kind of, for lack of better words, went an old school style. If you look really close, you can see that was actually all cut out. All right, and then it was pasted on after the fact. So I was able to bring that to Fan Expo in Toronto, got Stanley to sign it, and that was a story in itself, which I'll get back to. But anyways, the completed piece we got back home to Windsor in time. I didn't look at that, and then from there, Dana took over, communicated with Tony in confidence. They were able to get this on there, and then from that we added in the coloring, and then it was approved by Dana and then sent to print. And then I actually had to pick up the print and I showed a couple people, but when I was showing them, I think there was like Sean at Rogues Gallery Comics and Scott at Paper Heroes. I was showing a bunch of people. I actually was showing them the print without actually looking at it. So leading right up to the final day, to the day I got married, because I did not want to see the bride in any way, shape, or form, I actually did not see this. So anyways, that was what was put in place, and what we did is had the matting serve as our guest book, and then there's a number of people that signed it. Obviously there's a lot of great things here. This is from my friend Eric. With great power with great power comes great responsibility. That's from Eric and Mel. And then there's just tons and tons of like family, and this is really cool because we'll hang this up. All right, so that was the final piece here that will be hung up as our guest book, and that was the piece that will go alongside with it, and that was the one that was given out to guests. All right, it was a really cool way to commemorate the wedding through legacy art. As a way to insert some geekiness into it as well and have some fun, and I'm just surprised we pulled it off. All right, so last but not least, getting back to Stan Lee, and my friend Scott from Paper Heroes will know this. Long story short, Friday morning, was supposed to go to Toronto for Fan Expo. I missed the train by literally 2 minutes, and I was stuck on the train. So I texted my boss, who was in Toronto. He has some history with Fan Expo, and I just messaged him. I said, I missed the train. I'll be on the next one. I'll be there in Toronto by 1, and I was actually supposed to meet Stan privately and then go over, talk to him, and do some stuff and look at all this art, and etc. Anyways, that didn't happen. I was actually quite scared that I would have missed my chance, but then later in the day, around 5:45, I was in line to go see William Shatner, and I get a text, and my boss said, "Where are you?" I said, "North building, whatever room," and he's like, "South building 200 as fast as you go, or as you can." So pretty much I ran through the Metro Toronto Convention Center, and I got there, and I met the agent, gave him a number of books that many people know I got signed, and then some artwork. And then from there, yeah, just went with it with this. Dana was not in this picture, and then Stan was like, "Oh, something's missing here, no?" And then I said, "Well, you can't see the bride," and stuff. So anyways, this piece was signed and approved, blessed by Stan, and then also got the Excelsior sticker as well, and then brought that back to Windsor. I can't believe we pulled this off, but it was such a fun experience. And this will be another page in Danjer's Amazing Fantasy. All right, and that's it. All right, so again, for the people, my relatives that were involved, thank you so much. To my friend Tony, oh man, thank you so much. We pulled this off, and yeah, I framed this here too, the family. I think even itself, that's beautiful, but obviously kept all the pieces. So that's it, another edition of Danjer's Amazing Fantasy, Wedding Edition. Thanks so much and have a great day.